To create a trigger, I'm first going to have to create a brush. Those are those blocks we talked about earlier. So go over to this button here. It's what will let you create brushes. Once you've clicked on that, go over to your top-down view and click and drag the mouse over an area. See? Notice how that made an outline of a cube? Now press Enter. Now we have a brush there, though it's still not what we want yet. For starters, this brush is using the styrofoam texture that's used for the giant cup in the movie. There's actually a texture just for what we're doing, and has trigger written all over it so we don't get confused. So let's change it to that. Make sure the brush is selected, then click on this colorful cube icon here. That's the texture tool. Now click on Browse, and here you can view all the textures in the game, but we don't want all this. So go to Filter and type in Trigger. Then select this orange one here. Double click on that, then hit Apply, and close this window. Now you can see it's semi-transparent and says trigger all over it. However, it's still not a trigger yet, so let's turn it into the real deal. Go and select the brush, then right-click on it in the wireframe view menu. Then click on Tie to Entity. This transforms it from a piece of the map to an entity that has some sort of function. Here you get to select what kind of entity. We want trigger once, though trigger multiple will work too. It doesn't need a name. Now hit Apply and close this window. We're going to come back to this in just a minute. Let's move it around here and stretch it out some so it covers this whole parking strip. The trigger itself is invisible, so it's good to have some sort of indicator where it is in the game. Now the way this works is that when you walk into this area in the game, it will send a signal that can trigger different events. The event we want to trigger is that scene file we created for the Turbo Chi. There's an entity that specifically handles this. Wow, try saying that 5 times fast. Anyway, click on the Entity tool, go to Objects, then go to Logic Choreographed Scene. Then just click anywhere to create this. Let's see. Comedy and tragedy, classical Greek stuff. Okay, double click on this with the Select tool, and we really do need to give this a name, so I'm going to call it what? Scene 1. And hey look, I'll even spell it correctly. For the scene file value, click on Browse, and there's the Face Poser 1 scene we created earlier. It's all coming together like some sort of master plan. And hit Apply. And don't forget the name here, we're going to need it in a second. Okay, close, and double click on the trigger again. Then Output. We have a trigger entity, but we still need to tell it what to do, which is what this window is for. So let's click on Add. Now the function we want is onTrigger. This means do something when you walk over it. This section here is a lot like basic programming, where you tell a computer what you want to do based on your input. The difference is we don't have to learn any actual code, so yay. If we did, then this tutorial would never end, and we'd be trapped in it forever. The next part is target entities, which in our case is Scene 1. And really it lists all of them for you here, which is nice, although you usually end up typing this part in, because on some maps you can end up with hundreds of entities. But we only have a few here to pick from, which is the nice thing about keeping it simple. For via this input, we tell this entity what to do. We want our scene to start, so just select that in the menu. And really what you're learning here opens up a lot of options. We could tell it on trigger kill person A, or on trigger make the world end. But for now we just want it to play our scene. And there are other options. If you wanted to delay the action, you can type in how much here. We don't need to do that now, but that can be useful for timing on some events. So click on Apply and Close. Now let's go ahead and move our start position over, so when we spawn, all we have to do is walk forward to start the scene. Remember, just cut and paste. Okay, now in a perfect world, this would be all we have left to do. But remember earlier how I said generic actors don't always work? Well, as luck would have it, this is one of those situations where they don't seem to. But we're going to run this map anyway, just to prove it. And to help win back confidence for anyone who's starting to think I'm insane. Wouldn't be the first time. Okay, we're making progress, so let's save this map. File, Save As. I'm going to call this Generic Actor, since that's the method we're focusing on here. Save. Then once you've done that, let's go and run it. File, Run Map. Looks good. Okay. And now I should talk about something else while we wait for this to load. Did you know that your fingernails grow roughly twice as fast as your toenails? I always thought we kind of got shafted with fingernails biologically. I mean, sure, you need to protect your nerve endings, but they're so easy to bend and break. Have you ever tried playing basketball with long nails? I mean, I think we can all agree that retractable claws are the best, but oh, okay, now watch. I'm going to walk forward and it'll say his line, but it'll completely ignore his animation.
So is it yours?
You see that? I guess he thinks he's too good for this role or wants a new trailer or something. You even have to deal with actor drama like this in the virtual world. Alright, I'm going back to Hammer.